So let's talk about some pro tips. What would you suggest as a pro tip when it comes to enterprise browser and kind of getting started?
So the big one is just really identifying what you're looking for. So when you're looking at an enterprise browser, it's pretty daunting. So understanding what can I use this for today and what can I use this for in the future? The main concern is how do I have that user experience? So what is the level of effort to deploy it? What is the level of effort to get the users included into the solution? Because that's really one of the big keys is making sure that user adoption is by far and large like one of the main goals. So when looking at that, there's really no wrong answer when it comes to an EB. I would say when we're looking at pro tips, make sure that you don't have any additional overlapping tools. That's one of the largest ones. Where when you're deploying an actual enterprise browser, are there other tools on the device that the user will naturally go to? And what I mean by that is if they have a VPN and they're comfortable with the VPN, you don't want to rip the band-aid of just taking the VPN off, but you have to understand what that enterprise browser will do to their user experience and how can you get them to adopt it in their own methodology, meaning they want to use that solution. Because if there is overlap, they're going to go with the tried and true of, I know this, it works, it's not turned off.
Yeah, I know I had one of our POCs that we did for a customer. The CISO was definitely heavily involved in terms of configuring and going through the process, but it was actually the CTO who came in and said, "I love this thing. We need to deploy this ASAP because it made my life so much easier. I want to use more of this. I want our users to use more of this." So it was a pretty interesting conversation. I think I'll throw out a pro tip myself. Getting the security team and the application team to talk early, right? There's some cases where the enterprise browser is coming in from the security team, from a security focus, maybe to replace technology or to address a specific use case. Sometimes it's coming from the application world where we're talking to the VDI or the VPN people and they're trying to figure out how to reduce costs or make some modifications. Really, what we're talking about here is just getting the security team and the application team to talk as soon as they possibly can, because it's the same alignment, it's the same goal that they're trying to achieve, but it's definitely got to be a balance, right? Make sure all of the security policies and governance are in place, and then make sure that the users have, like you mentioned, John, they want to use the technology, they want to adopt it, they want to make sure that this is their default, and kind of making sure that we balance between both of those, kind of those both sides of the scale. That's
Yeah,
good.
you're ultimately going to have champions in your IT staff and your champions with your user experience. So the idea is that, to your point, when you're talking to your application owners or your security owners or your data governance owners or your cloud owners, really it's understanding when you sit them down and say, hey, look, we want to bring in this solution not to replace what you're doing, but to help with what you're doing. And then when you can get those champions on board to understand, hey, this is great for me because I don't have to do X, or this will help me understand and make my life easier with Y. Once they get on board, then they can start working with end users and discover those users, like to your point with the CEO of saying, hey, this will make your life easier because of XYZ. And so once you get those champions together and understand that we're really just looking to make your workflow better and it in turns help the organization, it makes a lot more sense to take an I wouldn't say a niche product, but a new product and bring it into the ecosystem and help start reducing everyone's overload as far as applications and workloads.
Yeah, definitely a rarefied air when you have applications that can solve and make the security team happy and make the end users happy for sure.
Exactly.